Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the fourth video in my series on a DIY build of a belt sander. That initial clip was just me cutting this piece of 1/4 inch 2x2 square tube aluminum. It's 6061 if I haven't said that before. It's a more of a structural version of extruded aluminum. And in this video I am going to be putting together the lead arm, like the forward arm, which is going to support both of these idle wheels. And in this clip here I am deciding how to set up the holes so that if you remember from the first video, I want to be able to work on the belt on the top of this wheel from time to time, so it has to clear everything. And also I have to allow for the belt to go past the plate that you saw there. So I'm going to mark that out after I've figured out the distances, and then I'm going to drill the hole out. You'll notice, well actually not very well from this particular angle, but the hole is offset. The lead part of the arm, or the wheels, it's going to, well, the belt's going to go by the plating, is actually towards the arm on the milling machine and the vise. So it's actually set back a bit because those wheels are 3 inches in diameter, and that puts the center at 1.5 inches, which should give me more space in front of it than I wanted to. This should give me about 1/8 of an inch, which should be enough for the belt to clear everything and not wear on the plating and that sort of stuff. So now I've drilled the hole. I didn't show it, but what I did there is I only drilled the lead end, like the top part, and then I flipped the whole bar over and did the process again instead of drilling straight through. I find that tends to give me more of a straight hole that way, just in case things are slightly out of alignment. If you're just drilling 1/4 inch, it's not so much of a difference, but if you're drilling, through 2 full inches, any small deviations would show up more. You also notice in this particular angle that I have 2 nuts holding each side of that idle wheel assembly together, and the reason for that is I want to be able to lock them into place without putting too much pressure on the bearings, and that just gives you better options that way. You also notice that the length of threaded rod I cut here is longer than it needs to be. I wasn't entirely sure in the beginning if I was going to add any more attachments on this, but in the end I can just cut it if I choose to. So notice it's got lots of clearance on the top, and we're going to flip this over after a bit of fiddling here and bring it into the camera. And you can see I got a little over 1/8 of an inch clearance there between the plating, which is obviously not going in this position, but this shows you the clearance there for the belt going by. And next to the same process, I will drill a hole for the bottom assembly as well. Yeah, there wasn't any new material there, so I had to do all that out. And it's exactly the same as the top one, with drilling one hole and then flipping over and drilling the other. You can actually see the scribe marks I put on it. Once I have this attached, again, it's a longer bolt than necessary, but I wanted everything to be at least the same at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check for clearances on how, well, I'll also hold it up vertically, make sure everything looks good, and then I will put the plate in roughly where it belongs and check it for clearances as well. The back wheel assembly I will do in the next video. Will be where the belt tensioner and everything else is going to be. And I just got a cell phone message there, you'll notice. I may edit that out. So anyway, what I'll do here is hold this up to show you. This is, again, just roughly where it's going to be, but this is the general idea I have at the moment. This is going to be the work surface, obviously, so it needs to have to be at a reasonable height for me to do what I need to do. And as I've said in the first video, I tend to do a lot of work on top of my table saw here. But that's the general idea. So what I'll do here is I'll make some decisions and then clamp things in place, and we'll do is drill those 2 holes. Nothing exciting here. None of these holes are actually even critical, really. I'll drill one, then I'll bolt that in place, make sure everything is nice where I want it, and then I will drill the second hole. And now we get to the part where we see if this is all going to work or not, because it has to be pretty straight at this point, and it has to have reasonable clearance. So I've done is I put on a piece of angle aluminum here, and There you go, it goes by nicely. Might be a bit of an angle there, but that will probably come out when I tighten everything down. These are all just hand tight at the moment. And seeing how this particular piece now has these 2 convenient holes, I need to true up the bottom end of this so it fits nice and flat. And then, so what I'm going to do here is I bolted it to my milling machine, and I'm just milling off the end of it so we're all nice and flat and square. And you obviously missed most of that, but you end up with a nice square cut in both directions. Definitely more square than it needs to be for this, but that's kind of cool. Milling the end also gives me the final height for this vertical bar, and it needs to be attached to the horizontal bar, which is going to be attached again to the platform for the belt sander. So in fast forward here, what you see is I've set up the hole, which is going to be, because these are 2x2 bars, it's going to be 1 inch up and then centered at 1 inch horizontally as well. And I'm going to drill one side like the before, and then I'm going to set it all up again. What I probably should have done here is use a parallel, because this hole is actually fairly, it needs to be fairly accurate, but as you see, I didn't. It's only 1/4 inch, so it shouldn't be much of a problem for variability. And what I'm going to do now is, unfortunately I edited a lot of that out, is I have set it up on the 2 bars in place, in position where they need to be, and I clamped it in place, made sure everything was matched up so that the holes would go through without any problem with the clearance or anything. And then I took the drill bit out, removed the top part of the assembly, and then put it in place and drilled through. And because of the way I've done this particular time, I can't take it out of the vise and then drill the second hole, because it has to go straight through this time. But there's no problem with that, because it just has to be straight, because it's already married up to the vertical. So it should go through nice and easily here. And then I haven't cut the bar yet, I just put the threaded rod in, and I am going to tighten it up, and then we're going to test it for vertical squareness. And as you can see, the vertical bar rests nice and flat on the surface of the top, and here we are, nice and square. So now I'm going to take this all apart again shortly. What I'm going to do now, though, is we have to make this whole assembly square to the bottom platform. And also it has to be trued up to where I'm going to have the motor mounted with its drive wheel. The outside edge of the drive wheel has to match up with the outside edges of both of these wheels. So this actually took quite a while. A lot of this I edited out. This is a long process of me doing light taps and moving things around. You can see it's mostly clamped into place there, so it does take a little bit of effort to move it. But just a little bit of tap here and there. And again, you can see it's all fast forward, because this took quite a while. And then I'm just going to scribe a vertical line there. It's also the front end of this bar is right at the very front end of the platform, so it's very easy to match up that way. You can't see the clamps, but they're all clamped down, and then it's going to drill straight through, because this holes just need to be done. There's no as long as the bar doesn't move on the base of the belt sander, everything's good. And then bolt it all in place and have a look at it. You see my tape there says TF. This means top front, because another reason why I've been hand tightening these all the time is I had to take this apart so many times to drill each of the individual holes. Then I had to make sure that everything went back the way it was in the first time. Now I'm just setting this up for the moment. It's not actually going to be made yet, but if I am going to be putting pressure on that lead arm, there's nothing really keeping it from bending backwards except that bolt. So I am going to put a tensioner arm here. And that's the first part of the next video. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you then.